So this is our hormones, menopause, perimenopause Q&A, just my public service to help to demystify the transition into menopause and beyond, because it's so mysterious. I feel like you go to the doctor and you tell them your symptoms and they look at you like you're crazy. And then like, I guess you're just getting older. And no one really explains like what's happening, why it's happening, what you can do about it. And then there's so much conflicting information on the internet these days. There's some great information on the internet. I'm so excited about some of the menopause docs that are on Instagram and TikTok that are really getting the message out. But then there's really conflicting information, even from our well-respected medical journals. There was just a series in The Lancet. The Lancet is like a huge respected medical journal. And they did this piece that I thought at first it was like really positive because it was called the over medicalization of menopause. But it was like poking at doctors who want to help women overcome the symptoms of menopause and doctors that are recommending hormone replacement therapy. And they're saying like women should just get like psychological counseling. And if they don't have like really extreme hot flashes, that they shouldn't do anything about it. And it was really condescending and a little bit like, this is Women's History Month, right? And it was like we stepped back in history with this article. And so I'm not really sure like what the whole play was. I think it was to try to emphasize some of these pharmaceutical drugs that are for specific symptom treatment, but not really helping holistically to help improve your longevity and your overall health. And so anyway, I was a little upset about the article, as are many of my colleagues, but we're just doing our best to get the word out and to answer your questions. So I'm going to go ahead and start answering questions now. How to recognize pain that it's caused by PCOS and how to, I'm looking over here because that's my extra screen. How do you recognize pain that's caused by PCOS and how about pain from endometriosis? Honestly, any pain in the pelvic region is going to feel similar. It's going to be hard to actually figure that out on your own to know what the cause is. So definitely getting hormones tested are going to be a first step. If you have PCOS, chances are your androgens are going to be higher. If endometriosis, chances are you might have some estrogen dominance. But I would definitely, if you think you have endometriosis, I would definitely go get checked out by your local gynecologist, OBGYN, who can actually do an examination to see if that's an issue. But I would also avoid, for both those situations, you want to avoid as much toxicity as you can because inflammation does kind of exacerbate those symptoms, and then doing detox as much as possible or just avoiding toxins, and then eating whole real foods, anti-inflammatory foods, things like fish oil can be helpful, castor oil packs can be helpful. And then just like really looking into testing your hormones and balancing those out can be super helpful as well for both of those situations. But it's hard to tell what underlying cause of those two, because a lot of times the pain is similar. But for PCOS, you might also have symptoms of androgen dominance, things like difficulty losing weight. You might have acne, oily skin, oily hair, facial hair, things like that, irritability. So those are some of the symptoms that you might notice from PCOS. And then endometriosis, you might have like just a lot of pain, estrogen dominant symptoms. So hopefully that's helpful, but it's really hard to tell. So I would definitely recommend, seeing your local practitioner to see if they can give you some more answers. Awesome. Another question here. Let's see. In October 2021, I went to a gynecologist. I was asking why I rarely get my period. He concluded I was entering perimenopause. Okay, gave me, let's see, a couple medications, including Dufastin, which is a synthetic progesterone. He told me I should only take those short term. And then I went to a doctor again. I want to reduce my intake gradually, but then I found out that I should be taking natural isoflavones to increase my estrogen from soy milk every day. But then I found out that can block my estrogen. So super confused about what to do. My recommendation is always to avoid the synthetic hormones. The reason why they told you that you should only take those for the short term is because there are side effects that come with synthetic progestins specifically. So you want to go with bioidentical hormones. Those you can take long term. Natural progesterone estradiol and estriol. And then if you needed testosterone and DHEA, those are all natural, biologically identical to your body, and those can be taken safely long term. Now, your question about the isoflavones, things like soy, flax, those can support healthy levels of estrogen while you're still making estrogen, but they're not going to replace estrogen due to perimenopause and menopause. So you're going to want to, if you want to relieve those symptoms and you want to balance your estrogen levels back to normal, then you want to replace estrogen with estradiol and estriol. So no extra words around those: estradiol and estriol and progesterone. If they're called anything different, then that is usually synthetic. And so that's how you know. Awesome. All right. Good evening. Awesome. Let's see. I went through menopause a long time ago. I can't remember exactly how long, but I did about a year of what I want to say is HRT. Are there any risk of using BHRT, and how long can someone be on them? Oh, so I just answered how long someone can be on them. So as long as you're on a appropriate dose for you, you can actually stay on your hormone replacement therapy as long as you want to, for the rest of your life if you want to. Bioidentical hormones, when dosed appropriately for you. So when I say that, what I mean is there are some people that are doing mega doses of even bioidentical hormones. And there's that saying, like, too much of a good thing is not a good thing. And that's true with hormones. Too much of a hormone will actually give you symptoms of the hormone being low or excess symptoms. So you don't want to be taking something and then make more symptoms. So you always want to do a dose that's appropriate for you. And that's why we do testing. If you start developing symptoms after taking hormones of excess, then you want to dial it back. And there is no perfect dose for every 55-year-old woman or every 70-year-old woman. It really is very individual. Everybody absorbs the hormones differently. Everybody metabolizes them differently. Everybody reacts to them differently. And so the dose is just what's going to be appropriate for you. In our practice and the Healthy Hormone Club, we start with on the lower end of what we think is appropriate for you, and then we can always add more. If you've already been on hormone replacement and you come to us, then we're going to start you similar to where you're at. But it's always better to use the lowest effective dose and then increase as needed instead of overdoing it. But to answer your question, there aren't really any risks of being on the appropriate dose of bioidentical hormones if you're using topical hormones or transdermal hormones. The risks start coming in when you're using oral, specifically estrogen. That can cause some clotting risk, that can cause some issues with heart disease and some issues with some other issues of inflammation. And so it's because of the liver enzymes. They actually create an enzyme or a protein that can interfere with how your blood vessels respond, and they can cause plaques to form. And that's from the oral hormones, not the transdermal. So transdermal bioidentical, there really are no side effects if you're on the appropriate dose. And if you're not on the appropriate dose, then there's side effects that can be like tender breasts and things that are symptomatic, that as soon as you dial back your dose, you'll be okay. And yeah, so you can totally start if you want to. I don't recommend, again, synthetic hormones, and I typically don't recommend oral estrogen because I don't think that it's necessary to put yourself in those risks. All right, awesome. Next question. Can menopause create conditions for autoimmune issues to worsen? Absolutely. So autoimmunity there's a few things that you need to be in place to have autoimmunity. So you have to have, one, a genetic propensity to have an autoimmune condition. So that's one thing you can't change, right? So that if you either have the genetics that you are someone who can develop an autoimmune condition, or you don't have the genetics for that. So that one you cannot change. With the other two, you can. So you have your genetic propensity, and then you have to have a trigger. So the trigger, that could be gluten, that could be a traumatic experience, that could be the shift in your hormones from perimenopause or menopause. It could be exposure to a toxin like mold. So there's the trigger. And then there's a third thing, and that is intestinal permeability or leaky gut. And so that is where things are getting into your bloodstream that should not get into your bloodstream. And they're making your body respond to them in a way that it's attacking them. and that creates that autoimmunity. Your question, can menopause create conditions of autoimmune issues to worsen? Yes, it can, because that can be the trigger, but it can also be an issue because autoimmunity and inflammation go hand in hand. And the more inflammation you have, the worse your autoimmune condition can get. And estrogen is super anti-inflammatory. So when women are deficient in estrogen, their inflammation rises. And so does their insulin resistance, which causes more inflammation. So absolutely, just going into menopause alone can be a situation where it's going to increase your symptoms of autoimmunity, or it can even be the trigger that starts the autoimmunity. So I'm not to scare anybody, but good news is you can replace your hormones and pull back on that trigger. But it's not true for everybody. Some women, it's not an issue. Some women, it does not increase their autoimmunity issues. So it really is individual, case by case, but it can. So that's the answer to the question. Hi, Catherine. I'm just answering the highs. Another question about side effects from BHRT. When it comes to side effects, like some women, like if you take, for instance, melatonin, right? For 90% of the people, melatonin is going to make you sleepy and help you improve your sleep. And then you have the outliers. You have the 5 to 10% of people that they're like, I took melatonin and I was up all night. So there's always people who will have some outlying effect. But when you use bioidentical hormone replacement therapy in a smart way, when you're working with practitioners who are guiding you and are helping you figure out your dose, there really are no negative side effects. But if you're on the wrong dose or you're not following directions, then yeah, you can get like some breakthrough bleeding. That's one of the side effects, that even if you are on the right dose, you can get some breakthrough bleeding in the first couple of months. You can get some breast tenderness as your hormones start to change. You might get changes in your sleep patterns initially. So when you think about when we were cycling and we would have like that time before our period where our hormones were changing, where we might gain a couple pounds of water weight, we might have little aches and pains, we might have little issues like that. That's initially when you start hormones, your hormones are changing. And so you can have some little like temporary issues like that. So that's like the main side effects, I'd say. And it's usually just temporary the first 30 days. And that's not all women, that's just some women. But other like long-term side effects or serious negative side effects of bioidentical hormones, there really aren't any, because it's what your body is normally used to having. It's actually, the side effects are actually caused by a deficiency of your hormones. So it's if you have a low thyroid output and you take thyroid hormone to replace your thyroid, the negative symptoms are the symptoms of not taking the hormone or taking too much of the hormone. But when you're taking the hormone in the right amount, then you feel good. And that's the same with hormone replacement therapy. And unfortunately, it's just not well known, and it's not talked about a lot because one, research on women's health really didn't start until like 1994. And a lot of the research that's done on hormone replacement therapy is done on synthetic hormones. And that was widely publicized about all the negative side effects of synthetic hormones. And so that's why you hear more of these things, oh, hormones cause this and hormones cause that. It's synthetic hormones. And any doctor that like tells you that you can't be on hormones because you have a risk of stroke, or you can't be on hormones because of heart disease, that doctor doesn't know the difference between bioidentical hormones and synthetic hormones. And so this is why we have these Q&As. Awesome. Can we consult with you as a health professional? Can we refer patients from Canada to your group? Absolutely. You can contact our customer service at support@Glow Natural Wellness. We do work with women in Canada, in Mexico, in the UK, Australia. So you absolutely can refer people to us, and we'll be happy to set up some type of partnership with you. The hormone tests we use, so we use ZRT Labs, and it is a saliva test or a blood spot test. We do that because it's simple to do at home, easy to send to you, send back, and it's great for even assessing topical hormone use. We can use a blood test for your initial test, but topical hormones don't show up as well in the bloodstream because they're actually circulating in your lymphatic system and in your tissues. So for topical hormones, it's best for retesting with either capillary blood, which is a blood spot, or saliva. And so that's what we use to test your hormones. And so we actually offer, if you're not in our Healthy Hormone Club, you can just go on our website and buy a hormone trio test, which is a test that we use, or all the testing is included if you're in the Healthy Hormone Club. And that was actually another question that I had. What exactly is included in the Healthy Hormone Club? I'm in another program and they said that visits were included, but I only get to communicate with the practitioner through an app, no actual conversations, and it's very generic, even though they say they advertise personalized care. Is the Healthy Hormone Club the same? Do I get to actually talk to anyone? And do I have to pay extra for my hormones? So good news, Healthy Hormone Club is different. So we actually have real nurses, doctors, clinicians that will actually talk to you on the phone, on a video call like this, where you're talking back and forth, and you get unlimited meetings. So if you are somebody that just requires more back and forth, you want more hand holding, you can call in and talk on the phone to one of our hormone specialists at any time, Monday through Friday. They're usually between 10 and 4. If they're talking to somebody else, they'll call you back. And then you can also book video calls. So that's included with your Healthy Hormone Club membership. We don't just, you also can chat with us through our member portal, through a chat, but that's in addition to be able to meet with your hormone specialist one-on-one. I feel like in order to actually understand, you need to have a back and forth conversation. Like texting or an app, that's just, it's not like often enough for most people to get like really understanding and to create that connection. And so that's included. Yes, the hormones are included, the testing's included, and all of that's included. And actually right now we're doing our Women's History Month sale. So if you go on our website and you type in, or you order it, you can do monthly or annually. At checkout, if you enter WHM in the checkout, you get our 53% off sale, and that locks in for 3 years. So you will not be paying the full price. And the full price is still actually a really good price, but I know like affordable, accessible hormone replacement is something that's really needed. So that's why we offer sales. So if you've been through our webinar, it's the same special that we have with our Masterclass special, but we're offering it to everybody. So if you missed it, if you saw the Masterclass like 4 months ago and you missed the sale, it's back from Women's History Month. So WHM in the checkout. Awesome. And you go to fixhormones.com and the join button if you want to learn more about the Healthy Hormone Club or you want to see all the details. Awesome. Let me go back to all the questions. Let's see. Going back to the Q&A. Okay, I just answered the what's included. Okay. My question was about nightly waking at 3 or 3:30 a.m. Is this normal for menopause? It is. It's pretty normal. All types of sleep issues are pretty normal in menopause. Generally, what women will generally notice is earlier in like perimenopause, when your hormones start declining typically, and I say typically because everybody is different, but typically progesterone will start to decline first. And that generally will result in difficulty falling asleep, having like anxiety or ruminating thoughts at night and just not being able to turn it off and fall asleep. And then as your hormones start to decline further, estrogen takes a nosedive, and that is usually the hormone that prevents you from staying asleep. However, there are so many other reasons why you might have night wakings. One of them is like gut infections, parasites, candida. Those often result in waking up sometime between 2 and 5 p.m. Also, blood sugar imbalances, or if you eat something like, I know with my husband, if he drinks alcohol after like 8 p.m., he will wake up at 3:30 in the evening. And that's true for a lot of my patients as well. So knowing yourself and like testing different things can be helpful, but it is super common with estrogen declining to have that night waking or not be able to stay asleep. The other thing that happens when we reach 45, 50, 55 and beyond, our melatonin production tanks as well. Sometimes supplementing with melatonin can be helpful to help you stay asleep as well. So there's a few different reasons, but yes, it is pretty common in menopause. Okay, let's see. Are your products only useful to women in peri or premenopause or postmenopause 59? menopause age 58 after peri for 7 years, celiac disease and thyroid medication, eat a clean diet. My memory is good, but could be better, joint muscle pain, and missing intimacy with my husband. So I think you're asking, is the Healthy Hormone Club or even all of our other products that we offer, like Below or multivitamin, is that good for just the early menopause or is it good for postmenopause? It's good for the whole scenario. So from age like 30, before your hormones start declining, all the way to 99 and beyond. I say and beyond because I feel as we're progressing in science, like we're going to start living to 120 without a doubt. The average age for women, I think, is like 80, 87, 86 right now. So that's pretty good. It's gone up quite a bit over the past like 40 years with all the advances in medicine and hormone replacement therapy. If you're using bioidentical hormone replacement therapy, on average, that will add 6 to 8 years onto your life. That alone, amazing, right? So that's one of the reasons why I'm doing it, because my son, Paxton, he's 8 years old, almost 9, had him when I was 41, so I'm 50 now. And so I need to live a really long time, right? I need to be available for him when he's getting married and when he's graduating school and when he's having grandbabies and all of that. So that's one of the reasons why I'm so focused on midlife, on longevity, on like really staying as vibrant and healthy as possible for as many years as possible. And so one of those things is definitely hormone replacement and also all the other things that go along with it. So eating healthy, optimizing sleep, getting exercise, getting out in nature, stress reduction, saying no to things. As women, we say yes to like everything because we're always like, oh, for me, I'm a people pleaser, or I have been, I'm a former people pleaser. And so anytime anyone needs something, I'm like, I want them to be happy. So I'll be like, yes, yes. But then what do we do as women? We cut out things that are for us, right? And a lot of times that's sleep, our workouts, or if we're going to listen to a podcast or we're just going to go for a walk outside, we cut that because now we're doing all these other things. So that's part of the important thing. That's one of the important lifestyle practices in menopause. And the more you really optimize your daily schedule, the better your hormones work. And the better your hormones work, the more wherewithal you have to do the things that you should be doing to improve your health. So when you have your hormones balanced, it's so much easier to be motivated for a workout. When you have your hormones balanced, you don't have all those massive cravings. So you can take the time to eat healthier and really plan what you want to eat. And so it really goes hand in hand. They both, lifestyle helps your hormones work better. Hormones helps you have a better lifestyle. Because if that wasn't true, if the hormones did it all, like every 25-year-old would be like an optimal health. Because I have a lot of women that come to me and they're having issues with their weight or they're having issues with their hair or something, and they take the hormones, but they're not doing the lifestyle part. And they're like, why am I not better? Why is it not just magically fixing everything? It's not like a magic pill. I wish it was, but it's not. The lifestyle component still totally matters. So hopefully that makes sense to you guys. What are your thoughts on estradiol vaginal cream? Is it safe? I love it. Estradiol vaginal cream is amazing for women entering like perimenopause, menopause, but also for any woman that has been breastfeeding, gone through chemotherapy, anything that's going to suppress your estrogen. One of the things that happens is vaginal dryness, thinning of the vaginal tissues, atrophy, increased risk of UTIs. All those things can be reversed with vaginal estrogen. Now, sometimes if you're on hormone replacement therapy, the systemic estrogen can help with vaginal issues, but a lot of times women also need that local low dose estrogen vaginally. And so we actually have a product called Below. Many of you may or may not know about it, but we have a version that has estrogen and we have a version that has DHEA. Both of them are effective at restoring vaginal health. The DHEA actually converts in your body to estrogen. So they both work. The DHEA version helps a little bit more sensitivity, so improving your enjoyment of intimate experiences. The estrogen works just a little bit better at preventing the UTIs and helping with reversing the atrophy, but they both work phenomenally. I like to use estrogen in the morning, DHEA at night. So it's like skincare for your vaginal tissues. We moisturize our face all the time, right? Every day we're like putting serums on, moisturizer twice a day. What do we do for our vaginal tissues? Nothing. We just expect them to be plump and moist. Doesn't happen, especially after you hit like 30. So definitely love estrogen vaginal cream. You can get it with a prescription from your doctor, or you can get it without a prescription on our website. It's called Glow Below. It's amazing. Awesome. Let's see. A friend sent this to me, sent me here because of Sherry. Awesome. I'm 68 and Sherry's one of our hormone specialists. I'm 68 and I've been through menopause for 10 years, do not use hormone replacement, deal with chronic pain. I use Cymbalta for it. Just wondering if hormone therapy can help instead. Absolutely. So any woman who's going through menopause is living in a state of hormone deficiency. Our hormones, we have receptors on every cell in our body. So hormones help with our skin and our collagen. Hormones help with our heart health, the health of our vascular tissues. So our veins and our arteries helps them to be elastic and expand and contract, helps with our brain. As we get older, we lose estrogen, and estrogen is really important for the feeding the brain, giving oxygen to the brain and nutrients to the brain. So many things, everything you can think of, joint pain, estrogen lubricates our joints. It's a lubricator. So we think about vaginal dryness, but also our joints get dried out, our eyes get dried out, our skin, our hair, our nails, so many things. I can't even go. We have a download on our website called 99 Symptoms, One Root Cause. And it's basically 99 symptoms of menopause and which hormone goes with which one. And it's just insane that we used to think, like not long ago, even when I was younger, I thought that menopause was just hot flashes and you get old. That's what I thought. I thought like the Golden Girls, like that's menopause. But almost every chronic condition, even increased risk of diabetes, increased risk of cancer, obesity, all the things. So yes, definitely you can totally be helped with hormone replacement therapy. I really think that not every woman has to do it. I shouldn't say that. Every woman would benefit from replacing their hormones because hormones are so important for the health of all of our other body tissues. And it used to be that we would die shortly after menopause. Like average life expectancy 100 years ago was like 50. And so a lot of women didn't even live to menopause. So if we're living to 87 and we're entering perimenopause around 40, that's more than half of our life that we're living in a state of deficiency. And we have all types of emotional, psychological issues in our brain. We have issues with our skin, our hair, our nails, our heart, our bones. Don't forget about osteoporosis. Estrogen is needed for the healthy bones. So many things. Let's see. Hopefully that's helpful for you. Sherry's amazing. And yes, I definitely recommend hormone replacement. You don't have to be on a high dose. You just need to be on a dose that gets you back up to healthy levels. Let's see. Will hormones heal pelvic prolapse and fecal leakage? Usually not hormones alone. So hormones plus pelvic floor therapy can really be helpful in those cases. And depending on the extent of the prolapse, it really does, whether it's reversible or not. But a lot of times, pelvic floor therapy, some exercises, some treatment, and hormone replacement can be super helpful. Do you offer the Dutch test? Yes, we do offer the Dutch test on our website. The Dutch test is a dry urine test for comprehensive hormones. It's wonderful because it tests your estrogen, progesterone, testosterone. It tests some of the metabolites. It tests your cortisol and all those. So yeah, it's a great little test. It's a little pricey, but it's a good test. I don't usually recommend that for testing hormone replacement because it is testing just metabolites and not the actual hormone levels. So it's like an approximation. It's testing what you pee out and then guesstimating what your actual levels are. But I do the tests for a variety of different reasons. So yes, we do offer that on our website. See, research says no difference from traditional HRT. Are you talking about synthetic hormones? Yeah, there's just tons of information about that. I actually have some YouTube videos about the difference between synthetic hormones and bioidentical hormones. So synthetic hormones are just not, they're similar to what your body produces, but they're not the same. So they behave differently in the body than bioidentical hormones. Now, a lot of doctors, a lot of pharmacies, a lot of pharmaceutical companies now do offer bioidentical hormones because they do see the benefit in not and reducing the risk. So I'm not saying that it has to be a compounded pharmacy where it's not FDA approved or anything. There are many like FDA approved, there's tons now of FDA approved bioidentical hormones. So it just means that instead of using something that's like a horse estrogen or a chemical that is slightly the same, almost the same, but different, which causes your body's very smart. So your body knows, okay, this is not the same thing that we're used to. And it causes little differences in the body. Different types of enzymes are produced, and that can cause problems down the line. Bioidentical are exactly what your body's expected, and they exactly work the way your hormones do. So yes, that's the difference. Let's see. What is typical HRT protocol for perimenopause, very heavy cycles, PMDD? Okay, so very heavy cycles and PMDD, that's a post or premenopausal depressive disorder. So what that means is that you likely are deficient in progesterone and have estrogen dominance issue. It's not set in stone. Like I would want to, so the protocol would be test your hormones, see where you're at, and likely it would be a higher level of progesterone. You may or may not need any estrogen, and then you might need some support for your testosterone levels. But I couldn't tell you what the dosing would be because it's going to be different for everybody. You also might need some estrogen detox. A lot of times when we have poor detoxification, our estrogen, we can use our estrogen, then it can recirculate through our system, the used estrogen that we were supposed to excrete, and that can cause some additional issues as well. Optimizing estrogen detox is important as well. And then there might be some other things that we can help with as well. Hopefully that works for you, but I can't give you an exact protocol because like I said, everybody is different. Let's see, how do I support strong hormones moving into my 80s? So there's lots of things that you can do for your overall health in your 80s. Getting out in the sunshine, strength training, eating enough protein, having enough fiber, eating healthy fats. Those are going to be great. Getting sleep, stress reduction, doing some stuff that you enjoy, having a strong community. And then also if you want to replace your hormones, you can replace your hormones too. Come on in. We have the prize patrol coming in. All right, come on back. All right, so this is Paxton. Let me pull this down. All right. So Paxton is our prize patrol. If you have not been here before, Paxton's my son. He comes in and he loves to give out prizes. So we're going to do a little fun in the chat. So Paxton, what's going on?
We're going to say some questions, and if you get those questions right, we give you free stuff.
All right, we got some prizes. We want to talk about the prizes first so they get excited.
Yeah.
Okay, we're going to have two prizes, two prize packs. The first one, we have a Glow Natural Wellness logo hat with a bottle of Daily Glow. Daily Glow is our multi-nutrient with hormone support. So that has DIM in it and some nutrients like B vitamins that help with the estrogen detox that we were just talking about. And then it has adaptogenic herbs to help with stress. So, all right. So how are we going to win this, Paxton?
I'm going to say some questions.
You're going to speak up. So
I'm going to say some questions and you say the answers in chat. And if you get them right, I might pick you and you might win this free stuff.
Okay, so just so Paxton's going to put a question. He's going to tell you a question and you guys are going to put the answer in the chat. And then Paxton's going to pick one of the answers to be the winner. Got it?
Yeah.
All right. And if you win, just email us your name and your address to support@glownaturalwellness.com. So you're going to email your name and where we can send the prize to support@glownaturalwellness.com. All right. Are you ready?
Yes.
All right. First question. Get ready in the chat.
Why did the student eat his homework?
Why did the student eat his homework?
Yes.
All right. Get ready in the chat. It's going to be a little bit of delay. Okay, well, the answers are going to start coming in. Oh, that was a funny one.
Yeah.
Oh, is that the answer?
No.
No? Okay. I don't know the answer to this either. Oh, that's a good one.
I know.
I don't see it yet. I don't see it yet. We might need to give a hint. That's a good riddle, dude. Oh,
Oh,
oh.
oh, now everybody's okay.
All right, first one
First one.
was Priscilla. Priscilla, is it Bahry? Bahrey. It was a piece of cake. Good one. All right, so Priscilla, you're gonna send us your name and address to support@glownaturalwellness.com. Okay, next question.
Next question.
Good job, everybody.
You're welcome. Okay, next question. Where do cows go for entertainment?
Oh, that's a good one. Where do cows go for entertainment? Oh, everyone knows this one.
Oh, shoot. Wait. We have to the movie.
Okay, this is Brina Williams. You got it. Oh, but Susan got it too.
But
All right. Susan Kaplan and Brina Williams, you both won. And you guys are getting this Glow Natural Wellness hat with our whole logo on it and a bottle of Goddess Drops. Goddess Drops are metabolic and cognitive enhancement tincture. So they're really awesome. They taste delicious and they help to boost your metabolism naturally and also help your brain work better. So we can all use that in menopause, right? Awesome, Paxton. Thank you. High five. Great job. Say bye to everybody.
Bye-bye. Hope you had a fun time competing for these hats and stuff.
Products. Awesome, Paxton. Thank you. Thanks for the prize patrol. Woo!
Bye-bye.
Awesome. All right. Thank you. See you later. Very cool. So if you won, again, you're going to email support@glownaturalwellness.com. Give us your name and where you want to submit your prize to. Hope you guys enjoy. All right, back to our regularly scheduled programming. So let's see. Did I answer the last question fully? I think I did. I would love to know what the risks associated with bioidentical progesterone for hot flashes associated with menopause. Not really any risk. Too much progesterone can cause some like water retention, and also like too much can actually block your estrogen action. You don't want to overdo it. But if you're doing like you're supplementing on your own with progesterone, because progesterone is readily available, you can do 20 milligrams to 40 milligrams to start and see if that helps. But I recommend testing your hormones if you want to go any higher than that. So you can either use our hormone trio test or you can go to your doctor and ask for a hormone test. So hopefully that's helpful. Let's see. I know that there are a lot that goes into this, but I'm curious how you understand if taking hormones is what you need or a potential band-aid for other things. For example, Hashimoto's combined with hormone issues. How do you know what is causing the underlying issues? That's a great question. So I personally struggle with Hashimoto's thyroiditis. So if you have Hashimoto's, symptoms are going to be like fatigue, hair loss, losing your eyebrows, difficulty with like constipation, bowel movements, dry skin, things like that. There is overlap with a lot of the symptoms between menopause and thyroid. The good news is that treating, if you do have low thyroid output, like testing your thyroid levels with a full comprehensive thyroid test, that's going to test your free and total T3, your TSH, your T4, your thyroid antibodies. If you do have like low free T3 specifically, then you might want to take some thyroid hormone replacement or use a thyroid glandular. And then if you still have other symptoms, or you just have low hormones and you want to preventatively prevent bone loss, heart disease, brain fog, dementia, some types of cancer, you want to delay the aging process, you want to live longer, then you can also do the hormone replacement therapy as well. I have many women in the Healthy Hormone Club that don't have any symptoms, but they just know that the hormones are declining and they don't want to get the like rapid aging. They want to keep their hair like full and lush. They want to avoid bone loss. They want to avoid insulin resistance. They want to avoid all the things. And so they start taking the hormones. Now, My situation is pretty unique because I was diagnosed with ovarian failure when I was 20 years old, 20. And at that point in my life, I had all the symptoms. I had hot flashes, I had joint pain, I was losing my hair, I had night sweats, and I was gaining belly fat, even though I was on the track team and I was a young athletic girl. And so I had all the symptoms then. And I didn't get the treatment. I got birth control pills, I got antidepressants, I got medication for pain, I got medication for IBS and things like that. And it wasn't until like later that I understood what my problems actually were. And the symptoms did resolve themselves after a little while once I was able to bring my ovaries back online because it was a misdiagnosis. My ovaries actually failed. I just had a lot of other health issues going on that caused them to stop working. But now that I am 50 and I'm in perimenopause, I'm taking hormones preventatively now. So I don't have horrible hot flashes or joint pain or insulin resistance or anything like that yet, but I'm taking the hormones now so I don't have to deal with those things. I don't think it's a band-aid for anything. Hormones are definitely not a band-aid. No, a band-aid is if you're taking a medication to stop your hot flashes. But hormones are addressing the root cause, which is the hormone deficiency. It wouldn't hurt you to do both, to treat your Hashimoto's and to balance your hormones too. But the good news is estrogen and progesterone are both supportive for your thyroid. So a lot of times just balancing your hormones can actually help with supporting your thyroid as well. So hopefully that's helpful. Awesome. All right. I heard that estrogen is locked into fat cells, and if I lose weight, estrogen will be released into my bloodstream. That is not true. Toxins are locked into fat cells, and if you lose fat, sometimes toxins can be released, but that's not how estrogen works. So that would be great if you just, but people who have more fat actually make more estrone, which is a form of estrogen. So that might be what you're talking about because fat cells are organs and they can actually release estrogen, but it's estrone that they release, not estradiol. Estradiol is the estrogen that is like the most powerful estrogen that does all the healthy things, reducing hot flashes and making your skin look wonderful. And estrone, not so much. It's more like it's just one of the hormones that is produced by our fat. Doesn't really, right now in 2024, we don't know of any benefits of estrone, but who knows? In 2065, we might find some benefits. Opinion on creams versus the patch, I think they're both great. With the patch, I do have a lot of women that have sensitivity to the adhesive, or if you're active like me and you like to run and swim, the patch will fall off. But it's a great option for some women. We like using the creams in our practice just because they're easy to adjust dosing and you don't have to deal with the chemical adhesive on your body every day, but it's totally personal choice. Some women like it better because they don't have to think about it. So there's absolutely nothing wrong. They're both transdermal. And so those are the safest options. Suddenly in menopause, age 46, sudden menopause at age 46, now 68. Dutch test shows no estrogen, progesterone, or testosterone. Doc says that's normal. Hard to find someone who will listen. Okay, this is my biggest pet peeve. Yes, it is normal for women who are 68 years old to have very low or no hormones, or women who are post-menopause have very low or no hormones. And that is normal, but that's not optimal. That's not what you want. You want to have optimal levels of hormones so that you can protect your bones, your heart, your brain, all the things I've been saying this whole time. Yes, you need to talk to someone who will help you and will support optimal hormone balance. It's so annoying to me when I have women go to their doctor complaining about all the symptoms of menopause. I have brain fog, I have anxiety, I'm dealing with depression, I'm dealing with weight gain, I'm dealing with itchy skin, ringing in the ears, dry eyes, vaginal dryness. And they're actually like, oh, your hormones are normal for your age. No kidding. We're supposed to have, you want normal for a woman, not normal for 68, because 68 is often not too many years ago, 68 was dead. And so you want optimal thriving hormones. And so you definitely want to find another practitioner. We would love to help you with the Healthy Hormone Club if you're interested, but any like menopause literate practitioner will be able to help you. What are some reasons for prescribing continuous prometrium? I'm going to say progesterone versus cyclic dosing. If you are still getting your period, you're going to want to honor your cycle and use progesterone the second half of the month. In our practice, we like to give a little bit of a break with progesterone. So even if you're not cycling, we generally take a break 3 or 5 days out of the month. Progesterone is only really needed 12 days out of the month for uterine protection, but for the optimal other benefits of progesterone, like brain health, calm mood, beautiful hair, things like that. Progesterone has benefits. So we like to use progesterone 27 to 28 days out of the month. And so that's basically considered continuous dosing, but you can use progesterone every day. We just like the body is used to having a few days without hormones. So we, in our practice, like to mimic nature and do the same thing that the body's used to. See, I used to take cream from a syringe from a compound pharmacy for over 10 years, and I switched to a patch and then to 2 a day. I switched a patch and progesterone 2 in a day, 100 milligrams. And then I went to 37.5 to 50 on the patch. My doctor, gyno, does not believe I need progesterone if you don't have a uterus. Oh, that's what I was just saying. So you don't need progesterone for uterine protection if you don't have a uterus, but progesterone also supports thyroid health. Progesterone supports your hair. It supports your mood and your brain health. So yes, progesterone is super beneficial. It's great to have your hormones balanced. Yes, it does have a huge uterine protection benefit. And if you don't have a uterus, you don't need that benefit. But progesterone is a really undervalued hormone by male doctors who think that we're just baby makers, and that's not true. We have brains, we want to feel good about ourselves, and progesterone is important. It's an important hormone for that as well. Let's see, how do you know I know you have hormone creams for progesterone and estrogen, but what if you have issues with testosterone? So for testosterone, there's a few different things you can do. So testosterone is highly impacted by lifestyle, eating enough protein, getting all your vitamins and minerals, weight training, and getting proper sleep and stress reduction will impact your testosterone levels. But also if you need help, topical DHEA converts to testosterone. DHEA is the precursor, and DHEA will convert to testosterone in the female body through telemedicine, or if you're working with an online doc. Testosterone is not FDA approved in the United States for use in women. And so it's actually illegal to prescribe testosterone via telemedicine. So if you want a testosterone prescription, you would have to see an in-person doctor. However, in our Healthy Hormone Club, we use DHEA to influence testosterone levels. It converts at about 50% in women. So we can get your testosterone levels higher than is normal, but in the normal range for women for women in general. The range doesn't change whether you're a 20-year-old or 80-year-old, the range is still the same. For women, it's much lower than it is for men, but it's still an important hormone. So we definitely do look at those levels and help to get levels into normal ranges. Let's see, my daughter is 37 and she had a hot flash yesterday. And she's starting and my wife started in her 40s. 37 is absolutely possible. Average age is going to be around 40 for perimenopause, but there's many women that start at 35. One hot flash, that can be attributed to different things. Sometimes like spicy foods or stress can bring on a hot flash. Men can have hot flashes too. But yes, it's totally possible for a 37-year-old woman to be starting perimenopause. Great thing to do is just test hormones and see where they're at, see if she has any other symptoms, and she might just want to start with some progesterone. See, can you explain how to test for hormones how often you test when trying to understand your hormones and needed as you move through perimenopause? In perimenopause, the testing is going to be a little bit wonky, but it's great to get like a baseline and compare that to your symptoms. Whenever we test hormones in perimenopause, menopause, whenever, we're looking at the hormone test levels, but then we're also looking at 77 symptoms analyzed. So we're analyzing your symptoms and we're comparing that to your hormone test levels, and that's how we're coming up with what we're going to do for you. We never just look at test results, and we never just look at isolated symptoms. We look at entire symptoms as a whole, and that's how we devise a plan along with you to reach your goals. So you never just want to rely on a single test. We generally will test every 3 to 4 months. In perimenopause, if things are a little weird or we're having trouble figuring things out, we might test more, and we'll definitely go off symptoms for sure. Let's see, I'm using HRT in postmenopause. I am 4 years postmenopause. I'm interested to manage weight gain. I'm doing all your wonderful guidance, recipes, strategies. Feel great, except my weight that keeps climbing, and I'm baffled what was happening. So one of the things to know about women as we age, we can't eat and exercise the same way that we did when we were in our 20s. So sometimes there's a shift has to be made in our macronutrient profile. So we may have been able to eat a ton of carbohydrates when we were younger. And now as we get older, our body doesn't process those as well. So we need to shift it to eating more proteins. We have to maybe exercise differently than we did in the past. I know a lot of women in our demographic grew up in like the aerobic phenomenon where everyone's doing cardio nonstop. That does cause a lot of stress on the body. It can raise cortisol levels. It can help you make you hold on to belly fat. So doing some more restorative exercise instead of running, walking uphill, including strength training, is going to be super important because we lose muscle as we age. And so when we lose our muscle, we lower our metabolism. So you want to gain back that muscle so you increase your metabolism. So it's not just about the hormones, although hormones do help you build that muscle. Your estrogen helps with your muscle contractions and help you keep lean muscle, as does testosterone and DHEA. You just might need to make some changes in how you're approaching things and how you used to approach them in the past. So if you are in the Healthy Hormone Club, we do provide guidance in nutrition strategies as well as fitness strategies. I have like all the exercises demoed for you. I've done all the exercises on video for you to see. And we have stress reduction strategies as well. Some great like help with sleep, help with mindset, breathing exercises, all of that as well to help you. Why should women in postmenopause use BHRT? Is it not enough to use high quality supplements? So supplements are great, but they're not going to increase your estrogen, your progesterone, or your testosterone levels. And those are the things that are needed to prevent the major big issues that affect women as we age: heart disease, insulin resistance, diabetes, cancer, Alzheimer's, dementia, rapid aging, inflammation. All these things we need our hormones to control these things. And without our hormones, we are at much higher risk for all-cause mortality, which means dying for any reason. And so that's why we need to replace our hormones. The female body was not meant to live in a state of hormone deficiency, but we are living longer than our ovaries work for. And therefore, if we want to live with the same vigor and vitality and energy levels and function that we did in our earlier years, then we need to replace those hormones in order to do. Otherwise, we start to deteriorate. And so we don't want that. That's why high quality supplements super important, but there's no supplement that doesn't contain estrogen, progesterone, testosterone that's going to increase your levels. Now, one caveat, as I did say earlier, that lifestyle does impact testosterone levels. So supplements along with a healthy diet and lifestyle can increase your testosterone levels, but will never increase your progesterone or your estrogen levels. Okay, do you agree about hormone replacement benefit? Do you agree that hormone replacement will benefit you when your bone density tests have shown osteopenia or osteoporosis? Absolutely. One of the main reasons why women join the Healthy Hormone Club and replace their hormones is because they got that diagnosis of osteopenia, osteoporosis, and replacing estrogen specifically, but also to some degree progesterone, and to some degree keeping your testosterone levels in a healthy range for women, that's 20 to 60, keeping them in that range will help you to be able to build the bone again. Now, estrogen is really important for when your bone's not just this inanimate object like a rock, although a lot of times we think of it. Your bone is constantly breaking down and building up, breaking down and building up. Without estrogen, you're still breaking down, but you're not building up as well. And so you get these holes in your bone. That's why it's called osteoporosis, because your bone looks porous like a sponge with all these holes. When you replace your estrogen, you're able to speed that buildup back up. And then that remodeling of your bone is stronger. And instead of having just like a skeleton of bone, you have thick, firm bones. And so estrogen is super important. Estrogen is the main hormone that helps with the bones. And it's the primary reason for osteoporosis. Estrogen deficiency is the number one reason for osteoporosis. Now, in addition to replacing your estrogen, you're also going to want to make sure you're eating enough protein, because your bone is made of protein and minerals. So like magnesium, calcium, things like that. Calcium is not as important as we used to think it is. Protein is more important. And then also getting some resistance training in, because your bones they respond to a stressor basically. And so if you are telling your body that it needs to bear a certain amount of weight, then your body's going to be like, okay, she's going to lift this heavy thing. So we need to build up our muscle and also build up our bone so that we can withstand that next time she does that. And so that's why strength training is super important. Awesome. Let's see. Hello. Thanks for all you do. I recently did a DNA test that shows I'm estrogen dominant. DNA test can't show that you're estrogen dominant. A DNA test says that you have a propensity for estrogen dominance, because you might have a dysfunction in your estrogen detox functions, or you might have a variant in your genes that help with estrogen detox. So there's no DNA test that can tell you that you're estrogen dominant, because your DNA is with you since you're born, and you're not estrogen dominant as a baby. And so I want to clarify that. Let's see, where'd that go? Oh, right here. The question is, now that I'm perimenopause, should I take bioidentical estrogen if I'm estrogen dominant? So the only way to know if you're estrogen dominant is to take a hormone test and see, do you have more estrogen than progesterone? And a lot of times in perimenopause, you are more estrogen dominant, but you have to remember that estrogen dominant simply means that in the balance of estrogen and progesterone, you have more estrogen than you do progesterone. So you can have low estrogen and low progesterone and just be estrogen dominant, because you have a little more estrogen than you do progesterone, but you might still need to replace your estrogen because you have low estrogen. So in that case, you need to replace your progesterone up to here, and then your estrogen up to here, and then you would no longer be estrogen dominant. So hopefully that makes sense. Estrogen dominance simply means that your ratio of progesterone to estrogen is off, with a higher propensity being in the estrogen bucket, but you can still actually have low estrogen and still be estrogen dominant. And then also your DNA can't tell you that whether you actually have estrogen dominance or not. It can tell you whether you have propensity. And that's generally in your reproductive years. Once you hit menopause, estrogen dominance isn't a problem at all, because we don't make any estrogen. So hopefully that's helpful. See, I'm 57, and I'm sorry I'm talking super fast. If you have a normal conversation with me in real life, I generally don't talk this fast, but I'm trying to answer as many questions as possible. So if it's off-putting to you that I'm talking fast, I'm really sorry. I just tend, when I know there's so much to do, I tend to speed up. So I'll try to take a deep breath. Let's see, I'm 57, postmenopausal. My TSH is 4.3. The medical doctor said that's okay. The naturopath said it should be between 1 and 2. Therefore, I'm hypothyroid at this point. Started thyroid medication a month ago. I'm wondering if I could also benefit from HRT. All right, first off, I'm hoping that somebody tested more than TSH. So TSH is not a good indicator of whether or not you need thyroid replacement, because it's not even a thyroid marker. It is a message from your brain telling your thyroid to make more thyroid hormone. So hopefully if they tested your free and total T3 and T4 to see what your body is actually producing, to know whether you actually needed that thyroid medication, that would be a complete thyroid test. You are correct in that normal TSH is generally between 1 and 4, but there's other things that could raise TSH, like medications, fasting, stress levels, things like that. So definitely make sure that you're testing your actual thyroid hormone levels. With that said, you can also benefit from hormone replacement therapy if you are deficient in hormones. So if you have hormone deficiencies, if you're in menopause, if you have any symptoms of perimenopause or menopause, or if you're just looking to top off your hormone level so you don't develop those symptoms or those deficiencies, then yes, you can also benefit from hormone replacement along with thyroid medication. You just want to make sure that you're not using excessive hormone replacement because that can interfere with your thyroid hormone if you're on excessive levels. But normal healthy levels will not. They will actually support your thyroid health. Estrogen and progesterone are super important for supporting thyroid health, not just your other issues, but also your regular thyroid health. Estrogen and progesterone are super important because estrogen actually, if you have estrogen deficiency, you can have too little thyroid hormone available, and you can have loss of your thyroid tissue if you don't have enough estrogen. And then if you have progesterone deficiency, it can actually hinder the production, the functioning of your thyroid hormone. So you want to definitely have both of them. You just don't want to have an overabundance of either. See, the nurse that works with the doctor asked me to increase after I went for blood tests. Do I go for another blood test in April? I think that was a follow-up to another statement. Oh, let's see. Okay, I'm guessing that you took a blood test, they saw your hormones were low, and then they told you to increase your levels. That makes sense as long as you are on board with that. And in our practice, if we see something's low on a test, we'll always say, hey, how do you feel? Do you feel like you want to increase? And then if they say yes, then we will increase. But if they're like, no, I feel fine right now, I don't want to do anything, then that's ultimately up to you, is what I'm saying. See, when testing hormones, I've had doctors tell me that it's never really accurate because hormones fluctuate. How do you know when it's the right time to test? So if you're still cycling, we test between day 19 and 21 of your cycle because that's when hormones are at their peak. And then if you're not cycling, we just test in the morning because that's when your testosterone levels are highest and that's when your hormones are at the highest point. Now, if you're in perimenopause, yes, hormones will fluctuate, but we can at least tell you where they are now and assess your symptoms now and give you support for how you're currently feeling. In 6 months, your hormones might be different, but then we're going to be testing again and we're going to be adjusting your dosing based on your hormones. But perimenopause is like this and it gradually declines to nothing. Yes, there is some fluctuation, but for women who are cycling, yes, there's fluctuation throughout the month, but we test at specific times of the month. And then we have specific ranges for women who are in that stage of life. And so just a doctor that's knowledgeable about hormone testing is going to know when to test and how to read that test and also assess your symptoms, which is important to put those two together. Your goals, your symptoms, how you feel, and your test results together will help to provide you with the best protocol. Can long-term birth control affect when you go into perimenopause or menopause? The jury's still actually out on that. I was on long-term birth control for 25 years, and it was basically the Band-Aid for everything that I was going through. And so there are a lot of negative impacts of long-term birth control because those are synthetic hormones and they're much higher levels than we use in hormone replacement therapy. And so there's a lot of negative impacts like blood clots, stroke, heart disease, like so many things. But it doesn't necessarily delay your perimenopause and menopause. It can though. So there's not actually, I don't actually have solid science on that. I have seen science where it says that it delays it because you're not releasing eggs. But I also seen studies contradicting that to say it has no effect. And I don't have a definitive answer on that one. Bioidentical hormones, if in menopause, would you get your period back? So no, not if you're on physiological levels of bioidentical hormones, you will not get a period back. There is about 10% of women that will experience some breakthrough bleeding, which is like some light spotting and bleeding in the first 90 days of the hormone replacement, but that's not actually a period. Now, there is some extreme, like not non-recommended, but extreme hormone dosing protocols that I've seen out on the internet. They're not used by any doctor that has any understanding of female hormones or menopause hormone replacement, but there is some protocols out there. And if you're on super high levels, you can get a period back. You will not be able to get pregnant, but you can get a period back. Now, I don't know any women that want a period back. I have no idea, but I have not met a woman that is like, oh, I really missed my period. Yeah, there's no benefit to being on excessive levels. Actually, it's detrimental. But if you do experience some breakthrough bleeding, that is absolutely normal. That is not a sign of cancer or anything like that. It's generally just your body is responding to the hormones a little bit, and that will generally go away on its own. So you're currently in perimenopause and suffering from constant yeast infections every month. Will BHRT help or make things worse? So I can't say with definite that BHRT will help. Will help is vaginal estrogen. So vaginal estrogen will help to balance the pH in your vaginal microbiome, and that can help your body to naturally defend against things like yeast infections. Also, it could be the dryness and the irritation can make you more sensitive to yeast infections, and also the fact that your urethra shrinks and the vaginal canal shrinks with lots of estrogen, and then you're more susceptible to bacteria getting in there and causing some infections. Like urinary tract infections are super common. So that's something, but you also might want to look into diet and lifestyle, some other things as well. So I can't say definitely it will help, but it won't hurt. Let's see. Are the products made in what country? Are you talking about I'm not sure if you're talking about like the products that we gave away. All of our products, no matter what, anything that comes from Glow Natural Wellness is made in the USA. In FDA approved, registered labs, all GMP certified, third party tested. So everything that we do is super duper, like every ingredient's tested, every formula is tested, all on the up and up. Our hormones are made in FDA registered labs. Our supplements are made in GMP certified facilities, kosher, highest, strictest levels. So hopefully that helps. If you're talking about in general, hormones, generally most hormones prescribed in the United States are made in the United States that I know of, but I'm not really sure if you're asking about other products. Let's see. If you are menopausal and start taking hormone therapy, will you start menstruating? Oh, I already just answered that question. All right, let's see. I have no issues falling asleep, just waking up between 3 and 3:30 at night. I purchased Glow PM in hopes it would help. Melatonin doesn't help. Does that mean that melatonin isn't helpful for waking up in the middle of the night, or perhaps just not working for me? It might mean there's another reason why you're waking up in the middle of the night. Are there specific tests that can isolate my issue, or is it just normal for menopause? I'm 63. So one of the things I did say is I'm in the Healthy Hormone Club. Hormones have really helped my moods and anxiety, though. All right, so we have to figure out why you're waking up in the middle of the night. So it could be that, I don't know if you're taking your estrogen at night, but taking your estrogen at night can be helpful. So maybe if you're not splitting your dose, talk to your hormone specialist about splitting your dose and giving you some estrogen at night. Other things it can be is gut, like I mentioned, gut issues, bacterial infections in your gut, candida, parasites. They are notorious for waking you up at around 3 a.m. So I would definitely look into getting a GI map test, a gut test. GI map is a test that we use in our practice. It does like a DNA, basically test of your microbiome to see what's in there. And that alone might be able to help. The other things to look at is blood sugar, look at how you're eating. Maybe try eating some carbohydrates at night, can help calm your body and help you sleep. Look and see caffeine, if you're drinking caffeine after 10 a.m. in the morning, perhaps that's something to look at. And then also looking at food sensitivities. Sometimes food sensitivities can cause wake ups like that. So those are just a few things to look at. Are there risks of coming off HRT? I've read that your bones can take a hit and possibly other body parts can suffer. So that's a great question. Coming off, so when you're on hormone replacement therapy, so let's say you're in menopause, you have nearly zero levels of estrogen and progesterone, and then you start taking estrogen and progesterone, and now your levels are optimal. But you have to take your hormones on a daily basis to keep those levels optimal. And then when you stop taking them, after a few days, your hormones go back to nearly nothing. So now you're at all the risks that you were at before of your bones declining, your heart health declining, dementia, all those things, because now you again have low hormone levels. But since you spent some time on hormone replacement therapy, whether it's 1 year, 2 years, 4 years, 5 years, you get that banked time of pushing those diseases out. So If you spent 2 years on hormone replacement, you delayed your osteoporosis by 2 years. So it's not that it's all for naught. But then when you stop taking hormone replacement therapy, now your bones don't have that estrogen anymore. So they will start deteriorating again. So hopefully that makes sense. There's no risk of coming off. There's no withdrawals or anything like that. It's just now you're back to the state of low or no hormones. So now all those little symptoms can start popping up again. But you still do have that benefit of the time that you were on hormone replacement for cancer protection, for heart health protection, for brain health protection, all those things. Now, yes, when you stop, you're going to start seeing symptoms pop back up and you're going to be in that state of deficiency. So I recommend not stopping, but there's no danger of stopping. So yeah, I'd like to take your take on choosing progesterone there versus something like clonidine to treat hot flashes. Clonidine is what my doctor is recommending because I used to get migraines and there's risk of stroke. All right, so this doctor is under the assumption that all hormones are synthetic and oral. So he is telling you because you have a risk of a stroke because you had migraines with aura, you can't take progesterone because he knows the research on synthetic progestins that put you at risk for stroke. If you are taking topical bioidentical progesterone, there is no activity in the liver, therefore there is no increased risk of stroke. So you can absolutely take progesterone. So that's not only going to benefit you for your migraines, but also benefit you for total body systemic health. My mother died of breast cancer and I have tongue cancer. Estrogen risks for me, but progesterone is safe. Actually, estrogen has no impact on your impact on tongue cancer, and estrogen is actually protective against breast cancer, provided that you are taking bioidentical topical estrogen in the proper dose. So those are all kind of myths about synthetic hormones. And the Women's Health Initiative study, the study in 2002 that actually scared everybody about taking hormone replacement, there was two arms. There was a group of women that were taking horse estrogen only, and then there was a group of women that were taking synthetic progesterone, hydroxyprogesterone acetate, and horse estrogen. And so then they reported, oh my God, estrogen causes cancer, stroke, hormones are bad, hormones do all these things. But when they went back and looked at the study, and this is all published research, the group of women that were taking estrogen only, they actually had reduced risk of heart disease and reduced risk of cancer, specifically breast cancer. Bioidentical estrogen and bioidentical progesterone are actually reducing your risk of cancer, while synthetic progesterone specifically reduces or increases your risk of cancer, breast cancer. And bioidentical progesterone is actually protective. And then estriol, which when we replace your estrogen, we replace it with estradiol and estriol. Estriol is cancer protective as well. You don't have to worry. There's so much research. The book Estrogen Matters was actually written by an oncologist, and he debunks all of the silly research about estrogen causing cancer or hormones causing stroke. It's when you're using synthetic oral hormones that is the problem, not bioidentical topical hormones. And so many doctors just put them all in the same category. And it's really a disservice to women. And it's because doctors get their training from like Kellogg's and Pfizer and companies that don't really have an interest in holistic healthcare. And it's really a male dominated industry too. I think if men went through menopause like women do, and their body parts were shrinking and shriveling up and they were dealing with all the things, like hormone replacement therapy would not have a bad rap. There'd be hormone replacement clinics in every like gas station because men just get more than we do. Let's see, a doctor said that bioidentical hormone replacement is linked with ovarian cancer and increases blood pressure and strokes. That's what I was just talking about. That doctor is lumping bioidentical hormones in the same boat as synthetic hydroxyprogesterone acetate and horse estrogen, which they are absolutely not the same. I have a YouTube video where I talk about if you have an orange Skittle and you have an orange, they both have the name orange. They're both the color orange. They both have an orange flavor. but they do two very different things in your body. The orange Skittle is going to increase your blood sugar, insulin resistance, cause tooth decay, and is not going to have any benefit, where the orange is going to have vitamin C and antioxidants and help you improve your health and improve your immune system. And it's like bioidentical hormones is the orange and synthetic hormones is the orange Skittle. And it's so doctors are just like, oh, those oranges, they're all the same. They're so bad for you. They cause insulin resistance. And anyways, the take on it. Unfortunately, if you look at even in peer-reviewed clinical research, they'll be studying medroxyprogesterone acetate, which is the synthetic progesterone, and they will just call it progesterone in the study because they use the words interchangeably. Same thing with conjugated equine estrogen. This is a horse estrogen. Horses have 17 different estrogens. None of them are the same as human estrogen. And they actually cause different enzyme actions in the body that can put you at risk for stroke and heart disease. Now, women's estrogen, human female estrogen, does not do the same thing. So it's really unfortunate. Let's see, I have osteoporosis. Could bioidentical hormones help? The endo doctor wants me to start taking daily injections of Thymos or Evenity. Absolutely. Estrogen replacement is a number one go-to first-line treatment for osteoporosis. And estrogen deficiency is the number one primary reason for osteoporosis. So I definitely recommend going with estrogen replacement over one of those medications, because those injections actually make your bones weaker over time. If you look at the side effects ask for the package insert. Ask them, hey, can I see that package insert that comes with all the warnings? It'll actually say you have increased risk for fracture. Like, how is it that the injection that you're giving me because of osteoporosis is giving me increased risk for fracture? It's because they're building you these hollow bones, and estrogen is definitely the way to go. How are hormones connected to your brain? I have a whole article on this on my website, Hormones and Brain Health. Actually have a PDF too that's Happy Hormones, Healthy Brain. And hormones, you have receptors for hormones in your brain. So testosterone helps with the strength of the blood vessels going to your brain. Estrogen feeds the brain, helps the brain have oxygen. Without estrogen, you get plaques forming in your brain. So there's actually like those brain scans. You can look at a woman before menopause, a woman after menopause, and she'll have actually more plaques in her brain due to the fact that the estrogen is not available to give the brain the oxygen and the nutrients that it needs. Progesterone is actually used in traumatic brain injury to help people recover from traumatic brain injuries. And so progesterone is super important also for your brain health as well. So yeah, hormones and brain health, very important. If you haven't seen my free hormone masterclass, definitely go to our website, fixhormones.com, and go under the resources and check out the free hormone masterclass. I go pretty in detail about the benefits of hormone and brain health. Let's see, I'm 70 and I was told 5 years ago I had to get off transdermal bioidentical hormone replacement because of my age, and I'm more susceptible to breast cancer and stroke. Was I given the wrong info? You absolutely were. If you're on bioidentical hormone replacement, there is no upper age limit. You do not have to get off of your hormones, and you're not at increased risk for cancer and stroke if you are on bioidentical transdermal hormones. That's another doctor that is not reading the details, the fine print. They are just putting all hormones in one basket. So you're actually doing just fine, and you can get back on your hormones without a problem. You won't really notice any difference. And so I would definitely continue on your hormones because you still have lots of life to live, right? We're going to go to 120. That's what I said earlier. Let's see, how does having a gene mutation from MTHFR affect menopause? One, just having the gene mutation is a genetic variant, it's not a mutation. And having that does not necessarily affect anything. If you are actually exhibiting MTHFR variation, then you're going to have some issues with your detox in menopause. You're probably not going to notice that much difference. There's can be some issues with like histamine tolerance. There can be some issues with how you detoxify your estrogen. But if you are like in our practice, when we do estrogen replacement, we give everybody hormone detox support as well. Usually not too big of a problem for menopause, having an MTHFR variant. I have double MTHFR variants. So it's just about like how your body is actually expressing it. And then as long as you're taking like methylated B vitamins and you're avoiding folic acid in processed packaged foods, then you're generally going to be okay. Will we receive a replay of this? I am recording this, so I will send out a replay to everyone who registered probably in a couple days. So because it's the weekend, when I stop this recording, I'm just going to close my computer and go be with my family. And then I'll send it to my team on Monday to get it all processed. And then we'll probably send it out like Tuesday or Wednesday. So yes, we will give you a recording of this. Sorry, I came late. What are the forms of estradiol and estriol? So estrogen is the hormone, and there's 3 forms of it. There's estradiol, which is the main estrogen. It's the one you think of when you think of all the benefits of estrogen: strong bones, collagen in the skin, heart health, brain health, all the things, right? And then we have estriol. So it's E3 estriol. It's like the helper to estrogen. It has a lot of cancer protective properties. It also helps with hydration. So you can use estriol like to hydrate your skin. It's great for like vaginal hydration as well, combined with estradiol, because estradiol is going to help with the atrophy and the integrity of the skin. And then you have estrone. Estrone is produced by your fat cells. It's the most dominant hormone in menopause for women who are not taking hormone replacement therapy. It doesn't really have any benefits. There are some links to obesity in estrone, so it's not really the hormone that you want, but it's naturally made in the body as well, just in much smaller amounts than estradiol and estriol. So hopefully that's helpful. See, I had high testosterone since my 20s, had a hysterectomy at 57. My testosterone is still double what it should be. How do you treat high testosterone? And so if you're problematic, if you're having symptoms that you don't like associated with your high testosterone, there's different things that you can do to help to reduce your testosterone. Sometimes you can do things like saw palmetto, pygeum, and nettles that will help to reduce the androgenic component of testosterone, which is DHT. Also doing things like spearmint tea can be helpful with decreasing that DHT, which is generally the problematic part of testosterone that causes like hair loss, belly fat gain, acne, irritability. But if you're not having any symptoms, you absolutely don't need to do anything about it. Some women just naturally have higher testosterone levels. And when you see the ranges on a test, that is like the average. That's like the norm. But there's always going to be outliers. And as long as you don't have any symptoms, it's not necessarily horrible for that for you. If you have symptoms, definitely talk to your practitioner or a health coach or doctor about some strategies to reduce testosterone. But if it's not causing you any issues, then you're totally fine. It's just genetically, you're just predisposed to have higher testosterone levels than the average, but there are some benefits to high testosterone levels as well, like the ability to maintain muscle easier. And so not necessarily a problem. What about collection of urine for 24 hours? I don't really know what you're asking about that. Are you asking about the Dutch test, which it's not really collection of urine, it's more you pee on these little strips over the course of 12 hours. 24-hour urine collection, we usually use that for heavy metal toxicity tests. So I'm not really sure if that's what you're asking about, but that's what we use those for. Is joining the Healthy Hormone Club equivalent of changing doctors? You don't have to change your doctor. If you want to get hormone replacement through the Healthy Hormone Club, then you won't need to get hormone replacement from your doctor because it's included in the Healthy Hormone Club. But we're just supporting you in your hormone replacement lifestyle. It's a whole community. So we do hormone happy hours. We did this last night. So different than this, we do a Zoom meeting. So everyone's faces are showing and we just talk about different topics. It's definitely a great community, fully supportive. You get all your questions answered. And we just love having people in that hormone club. So if it's something you're interested in, I mentioned earlier, it's on sale this month for Women's History Month. You can use WHM as the coupon code, or you can email us to ask for it if you don't remember. And you can get it for half price, and you lock that price in for 3 years. Let's see, between hormones and other women's health lab tests, which ones can be done through Quest Diagnostics and LabCorp that insurance will cover? Ooh, that's a big question. There's no way I could possibly spout out all of the tests that insurance will cover. Oh, and how do these appear in accuracy with saliva and blood tests? It's just they're different tests depending on, are you asking, okay, I think I understand what you're saying. So getting hormones tested through a blood test versus getting hormones tested through a saliva or a serum test. So saliva test is going to give you your free hormones. That's your available hormones, not your total hormones. So it's going to be a little bit different in the ability to see your hormones. Blood spot. Blood spot is going to be your free and available hormones. And then saliva is going to be your hormones that are in the tissues and in the lymphatic system, where they actually circulate through. And then the blood test is going to be within your serum. So first test, absolutely fine to do either blood, serum, saliva, or blood spot. But when you are using topical hormones, they're going to be circulating through your lymphatic system and in your tissues. And so you either want to do capillary blood or saliva to test your topical hormones, because you can be on a very high dose of topical estrogen, get a blood test, and it's going to look like you're not on estrogen because it's not in your serum, it's in your lymphatic system and in your tissues. So that's why. Can I purchase a membership for a family member? Absolutely. Definitely make sure they want it. So I know sometimes I've had people who like really want their sister to be on hormone replacements. They buy it for, and the sisters, I don't want to do hormone replacement. So as long as your family member is interested in it, then yes, you can purchase. It's for your family. You can always just email support@glownaturalwellness.com if you want it to be a surprise or something like that. Otherwise, you can just put their name in and then your credit card information when you're checking out. So either way, you can do it like that. But you can always email us at support. Our customer service team is amazing. Also, if you go on our website, we have an 800 number too that you can call. And during Monday through Friday, one of our team members will be happy to help you. The doctor says because I have a Mirena and estradiol. Estradiol. You guys over there in the UK, you guys spell it with an O. We don't spell it with an O. That I don't need estrogen, but Mirena is synthetic. Okay, so you're saying, okay, because you have the Mirena. Mirena is going to give you local progesterone to your uterine tissues, so you don't need the protective benefit of another progesterone. Yes, it is synthetic, but it does provide protection to your uterine tissues. And because it stays local to the uterus, it doesn't really have many negative effects. The Mirena is not a horrible thing. But yes, you don't need an additional progesterone to protect your uterus. But if you want progesterone to protect like your brain health and help with anxiety and help with sleep and make you calm and help with your hair and all the other things it helps with, then you can totally also use progesterone. You can use it. It's not going to conflict with each other. So we have women who have Mirena IUD and they use progesterone as well, in addition to estrogen. It's totally fine to do, but your doctor's saying you don't need it to protect your uterus, because most doctors who aren't like really well-versed in female hormones, they think the only purpose of progesterone is to protect your uterus and that there's no use for it after you don't have a uterus. But we know that there's many benefits of progesterone. So that's why we recommend both. Let's see, I had a hysterectomy. I kept my ovaries. Some said I should have included progesterone in HRT. Others said I shouldn't. Oh, that's exactly what I just talked about. So yes, so you had a hysterectomy. That means you don't have a uterus. You don't need progesterone to protect your uterus, obviously, because you don't have one, but progesterone has other benefits. So yes, I still recommend progesterone. See, I've been on Wellbutrin and Prozac for over 21 years. Do those meds affect reproductive hormones? Psychiatrist said no, but I feel like it's launched me into postmenopause. Hormone levels per Dutch test in mid-40s. Will BHRT help correct this? Wellbutrin and Prozac don't directly affect your hormone production, but let's see, you've been on for 21 years, and then now you're experiencing perimenopause in your mid-40s. That's absolutely normal, whether you are on antidepressants or not. So yes, I do feel that BHRT will help to support your hormone balance as you head through perimenopause and menopause. And you can still be on those other medications as well, and that will not impact your hormone levels. So it's totally fine to be on antidepressants and also hormone replacement therapy. What we see a lot is a lot of women are put on antidepressants because they're in perimenopause when they should have been put on hormone replacement therapy first. And a lot of times you don't need the antidepressants, but they're totally fine to be taken together. Do your products help with vaginal dryness and atrophy? Absolutely. We have a specific product called Glow Below. I have one right here. It comes in a bottle like this, and it is a vaginal hydration serum, similar to a serum you'd use on your face. But this one, the white bottle, has estrogen, estradiol, and estriol in a low dose, specific for dosing for your vaginal tissue. Then we also have one that's in a black bottle that comes with DHEA. They both are very effective at reversing vaginal dryness and atrophy, improving sensitivity, comfort, also helping with reducing urinary tract infections and things like that. Awesome. All right, let's see. How you guys doing? You guys doing good? Let me know in the chat. We've been going for an hour and a half. You guys still good to stay on and chat some more? Awesome. Yes. Thank you. So someone's saying my skin is amazing. You need, is that the topical estradiol? All right. I'm not going to lie. I just had a laser facial done a couple of weeks ago, not like a harsh one, just like a light one. But I do take a lot of, because I'm on video a lot, I do a lot of treatments for my skin when it comes to like laser, microneedling. But I do use a little bit of estrogen. I use it like under my eyes, around my lips, because my mom always had those smoker lips, and I used to have that when I was younger. The microneedling really helps with that. So I do that, and I'll put a little tiny bit in my moisturizer and put it on my face. And so I just use the regular estrogen that we use for our hormone replacement therapy. That's one of the benefits that creams improve your skin with it. Awesome. All right, we're going to keep going. I got more questions. All right, let's see. And if I skipped your question or I missed your question, just know that you can just email support at Glow Natural Wellness, ask your question, and they will either send it to me, or if it's a question that I've answered before, they will answer it because they know all my answers. But if I will do another one of these. I got busy for a little while. I was traveling a lot, and I stopped hosting these as much, but I'm going to start hosting them more. I'm actually launching a podcast soon. And one of the episodes each week is going to be a Q&A, a call-in show. So don't worry, we're going to get more hormone questions answered, but I'm going to keep answering some I'm going to go for another 20 minutes. It'll be 2 hours. I think that will be good. All right, let's see. 60 years old. I have pain in my muscles. I do not take BHRT. I have bone loss, vaginal pain. No dryness though, because of the down there pain. I ordered Glow Below, but wow, full-blown hot flash, cramping, bloating, spotting. The fullness that I used to feel when I was going to get my period lasted for days. I cut back. When spotting happened, I quit. What to do? Do I keep going, or would just using creams in other areas of the body have less side effects? That's weird because it's a super low dose of estrogen. It doesn't even go systemic to your body. It stays local to your vaginal tissues. So there might be something else going on with those symptoms. Yes, hormone replacement therapy will help with all the symptoms, with bone loss, pain in muscles, hot flashes, all those things. I've never done a saliva test to check, but blood tests here in Canada show nil. Yeah, so you definitely could be benefiting from hormone replacement therapy. Glow Below does help with vaginal pain. It's not going to help with bone loss though. So local low dose vaginal estrogen will not help with systemic symptoms. And that's what you need hormone replacement therapy for, that goes systemic throughout your body. Let's see. So I would try Glow Below again if you're looking for help with vaginal health. If you're looking for help with pain in your muscles, bone loss, those things, then you're going to want to use a systemic hormone. So hopefully that's clear. Okay, let's see. I'm just starting to learn about HRT. My doc is dismissive of bioidentical hormones. It's just marketing. Said that bioidentical and natural sources are also synthesized, processed, no real difference. Okay, so let me just clear that. Bioidentical hormones are biologically identical in the chemical structure to the hormones that your body makes. So if you were to look under a microscope and you could see the chemical structure, and you can pull hormones out of my body and you can see this is the hormone that Michelle made naturally, like her body synthesized it, or this is the bioidentical hormone. They would look exactly the same. Now, are they still made in a lab? Yes. Bioidentical hormones are either they're made from plant sources. So they're either made from yam, a wild yam, or from soy. There's a substance called diosgenin. It is the chemical in the wild yam or in the soy. Our hormones are made from wild yam. So it has to be, you can't just eat wild yams and get hormones. That's not how it works. They have to take that chemical structure, and in a lab, they remove a few hydrogens and carbons, and then what's left is identical to estrogen or identical to progesterone or identical to testosterone. So yes, there's a lab involved to create these bioidentical hormones, but the end component is biologically identical to your human female hormones. Synthetic hormones, on the other hand, those have to be patented so that they can trademark them. And they are either synthesized from animals like horses, the urine of horses, or from chemicals in general. And they are similar to what the body produces, but not the same. The similar but not the same is what your body cannot be tricked. It knows the difference between similar and the same. And when it's similar, that means there's extra little tags and hydrogens and carbons and atoms, and those extra things can cause problems in the body. So that's a difference. It's not marketing, it's science. It's a scientific term, bioidentical, biologically identical. That's what that means. So hopefully that makes sense. All right, so I think there's a second half to this question. She also said it's natural for women to lose estrogen as they age, therefore it's unnatural to replace it. Let me explain. So no, it's natural. Cancer is natural. Losing your eyesight is natural. And there's many things that are heart disease is natural. But do we want those in our life? Absolutely not. It's natural for women to die at age 50. That's what happened for hundreds of thousands of years. Now we have unnatural things like clean water and houses and electricity, all these unnatural things that are helping us live longer because we're not out there in the wild, getting eaten by bears. And so, yes, we have things that are unnatural that help us live longer. And it is natural for you to decline in your health. And that's your prerogative if you want to slowly decline in age and deteriorate. Or you have a choice to not do that because we are living longer because of all these unnatural things that we've implemented to clean up our water and to protect us from danger. Yes, that's the difference. It's absolutely 100% natural to replace your hormones with natural hormones. So it is a choice though. So it's up to you if you prefer to just let nature take its course and slowly decline and be at risk for those diseases at an earlier age than you would have if you were on bioidentical hormones. And that is definitely your choice. I'm not here to push anything on anybody, but most of the women here on this call, you want more. You don't want to decline. You want to feel amazing. You want to have energy. You want to have muscles. You want to have a great sex drive and relationships and your brain health for as long as possible. And that's what the hormones are going to help you with. Let's see. You said that doesn't make sense. That makes sense, but it doesn't address the issues I'm having. I started menopause abruptly at 43 and have been fully menopausal for 8 years. Hot flashes, interrupted sleep subsided, but ongoing primary concerns are ligament fragility, weak bladder, weight gain, lots of energy, and sex drive. Is it true that you should not start HRT after being in menopause for 10 years? There's not actually a time limit. So that time limit is because the synthetic hormones cause all of those extra enzymes that I was talking about earlier to be secreted that do damage to your blood vessels and can cause clotting factors. And so that is it's more of an issue for women who are older. So that's why when synthetic hormones were the only hormones that were available, we didn't want you starting on it later. And we wanted you to only use it for 10 years because of the side effects. Bioidentical hormones, there is no upper age limit. Now, one thing to note though, if you had the choice of starting hormones earlier as you're entering menopause or before you enter menopause and perimenopause, or waiting 10, 15 years until after you've been in menopause, if you have that choice, you always want to pick the earlier, because all those years without the estrogen and progesterone, things are declining. And so as you go through those 10 years of not having the hormones, your bone health is declining, your brain health is declining, your blood vessels are weaker. All those things, your joints and ligaments are weaker. So all those things are already happened. Now you start taking the estrogen and progesterone, it's going to take you longer to reverse those things. And some of the things might not get reversed because the damage is already done. So it's always better to start earlier, but it's not dangerous, or there's no reason not to start later. And if you're taking bioidentical hormones and transdermal hormones, hopefully that makes sense. Can men join a healthy hormone club if they have hormone issues? Haha. No, men have it easy. Men can just go to their doctor and say, I'm just not able to lift as much at the gym, feel a little off, and they'll get instantly recommended a testosterone test and a recommended testosterone. So it's when men do not need the healthy hormone club because they have it so easy. And we like to keep the healthy hormone club women only because we have our happy hours and we talk about women things. And so no, men have plenty of options so they can go do their own thing. If you need a recommendation, I do have male doctors that I recommend to men. Bioidentical therapy, how long do you need to be on? As long as you want. As long as you want to keep experiencing the benefits. Once you stop, you're no longer replacing your hormones. So your hormones go back to their natural state because you don't have the mechanisms in your body to make hormones. So that's why you're replacing them. It's like putting gas in your car. How long do you have to put gas in your car? As long as you want to drive. Eventually you'll use up the gas and then you won't be able to go anywhere. So it's like hormones. Eventually, if you stop putting hormones in, you're going to use them up and you're not going to be able to make them yourself. What's the best time of day to take a saliva test? Usually within 1 hour of waking is what we'd recommend. Let's see. What time is the call scheduled for? That's a weird question when you're on the call. I'm not really sure what that means. What about patients who are on other meds, blood pressure, antidepressants, PPIs, statins, metformin? We have many patients that are on all types of different medications, and bioidentical hormones will only help the situation. They do not hurt. So as long as you're taking topical or transdermal bioidentical, there's really no contraindications with other medications. They only help support things. The only thing with metformin and statins is you may find you don't need them for very much longer, because with the hormones balanced, then you have less risk for high cholesterol, you have less risk for insulin resistance. So it can actually help you to not need them. How frequently do you have special membership products and sales? We do them for like major holidays. I can't guarantee that we'll always have the same sale, but yes, we do have sales like all the time. Like tomorrow, we're going to have a St. Patrick's Day sale on for all our supplements and products in our store. If you're going to buy something, wait till tomorrow. It's going to be the coupon code tomorrow will be green. Oh no, I don't know what it's going to be yet. So anyway, just stay tuned to your email. But we have sales a lot at Glow Natural Wellness. I love running sales, but I can't guarantee that the Hormone Club will always be on sale. But it is on sale right now throughout the whole month of March. So what are we on right now? We're on the 16th. So you still got a couple weeks. WHM is the code to get 53% off. See, do hormone imbalances in estrogen and progesterone affect thyroid function? Yeah, so I did talk about that earlier, so I don't want to repeat myself too much. But yes, estrogen and progesterone are important for the health of your thyroid, for the health of your thyroid tissue, and for being able to utilize your thyroid hormone. Very important. Estrogen deficiency, if you don't have enough estrogen, that can result in too little thyroid hormone being available for use in your body. And you can also lose some of your thyroid tissue. Estrogen is important for your thyroid tissue health. And then progesterone, if you don't have enough progesterone, that can actually hinder the production and the functioning of your thyroid hormones. And so very important. On the flip side, though, too much estrogen, if you're taking too much estrogen, that can cause issues with your thyroid as well. And too much progesterone, not really too much issues with your thyroid, but I don't recommend too much of anything. But yeah, so those how estrogen and progesterone affect your thyroid. You have a video on that on YouTube. If you guys check out my YouTube channel, I do have a lot of great information on there as well. What about, oh, I already answered that. I already answered that. Okay, I'm going through the questions. I'm not looking at the chat right now, so I will download the chat at the end of this, and oftentimes I'll use that for what I'm going to talk about on Instagram or what I'm going to talk about in YouTube videos. So if I have enough questions on the chat, on Wednesday of this week, I have slotted some time to create a YouTube video, so I will actually answer the rest of the questions in a YouTube video. So don't worry, if I don't get to this, you'll get your answer very soon. Let's see, I'm just arriving to a conversation, wondering if bioidentical hormone is increasing the risk of cancer. I did already cover that, so I'm not going to cover it again. So definitely watch the replay. Short answer, no. Bioidentical estrogen actually reduces your risk of cancer. And if you had breast cancer in the past, actually reduces your risk of reoccurrence. So that's great actual news. I do have like studies on that as well. Please watch our free hormone masterclass if you have not done so already. There's tons of great information in that, and I cite many studies. So if you have not checked that out, you can go to our website, fixhormones.com, and there is a drop down for resources. Click on the free hormone masterclass, and you can sign up for the next one. So much information on that. I really, as opposed to this where I'm just answering like random questions, I really take you through all the studies and the myths and misconceptions and the safety and all of that. So it's a really great comprehensive little class. I think it's about 90 minutes long, and you guys will really like it. Let's see. My renewal for Healthy Hormone Club is coming up. Wondering if change to 6-month testing cycle. And definitely if you're curious about like your testing and your pricing plan and all of that, please go ahead and just email either a hormone specialist. You can chat about it in your chat if you want to know how often you need testing, or if you have questions about like billing or anything like that, just email support@GlowNatural Wellness. I don't really handle all of that. Let's see, if I join, let's see, there's another question. If I join with a yearly payment and find after a few months, if you're not sure if you want to stay in, definitely do the month to month. We have monthly payment plan. The annual payment plan, we give you like 2 months for free, but that is, we're doing that because you're signing up for the year. It is all customized to every person. So there's no case where it's not going to be right. If for some reason you sign up and then we do your hormone test and you don't need hormones, then we will actually just prorate it and just charge you for the test. But yeah. Okay, let's see. Will hormone supplementation help fight viruses like Epstein-Barr? Not really. So estrogen does help with your immune health. So in a very roundabout backdoor kind of way, it can help you to fight. It'll help you to have a healthier immune system, but in no way is it going to fight viruses. Unfortunately, I wish that everything was that easy. Are all hormones still synthetic? No, absolutely not. There's so many hormones that are not synthetic. It actually perplexes me why any doctor would still be recommending synthetic hormones. A lot of doctors are paid by pharmaceutical companies to recommend their products. When I was going through med school and we had some different trainings and different courses that we can go to attend as electives. Some of the courses I went to were also attended by like conventional medicine doctors. And it's crazy how everything's sponsored by Pfizer and sponsored by Novoderm and sponsored by all these different pharmaceutical companies. And so a lot of times doctors just prescribe what they know. The farm reps come by and drop off samples, and then that's what they're prescribing to everybody. And so it just perplexes me why anyone would be recommending anything but bioidentical, because they're widely available. Let's see. I'm looking into some sort of bariatric procedure, hopefully one of the newer, less invasive forms. Are there considerations for HRT as weight starts dropping or potential risks? I don't think that there's any reason why you would avoid hormone replacement therapy, especially like if you have issues with your weight and insulin resistance. Estrogen, actually, like if you guys are familiar with the popular GLP-1 medications like Ozempic and Mounjaro and semaglutide, like all those ones that are getting all the press, the action that they actually exhibit, they're GLP-1 antagonists. And what that does is it actually calms down hunger. Estrogen actually has a similar effect in the body, which is absolutely crazy. This is why if you look at all these old-timey photos, if you ever look at like old photos from like 1920s, 1940s, early days, you always see everyone's thin except grandma. Grandma's a little chunky. And it's like that in all the old photos because grandma doesn't have her estrogen, she's eating more. And that's one of the reasons why people are on these weight loss medications. And estrogen actually has a very similar effect, and nobody talks about that. But anyway, being that you do have issues with your weight and you're looking into bariatric procedure, definitely hormone replacement therapy is a great thing to start so that you can maintain the benefits after that. So you don't have the cravings and the uncontrollable hunger and all the things. Are there concerns about transdermal hormone application being transmitted to male partners through unprotected sex? All right, so I think you're talking about vaginal hormones, and they absorb within the body in like less than 15 minutes. So it's usually like 3 to 4 minutes. But I usually say if you're going to have sex, use DHEA. If you're going to use it right before sex, because one, it's going to increase your sensitivity and move you to orgasm faster. And then two, men, testosterone, DHA, men, they love it too. So there's no reason to worry about that. But if you're using estrogen and you don't want to transfer it to your man, just wait 15 minutes and it's fully absorbed in the body. So you're not going to do any transfer. Okay, let's see. On the other stuff, how long you take them? Oh, patch and progesterone. How long do you take them? As long as you want to. I'll take my hormones for the rest of my life. So I'm 54. I stopped my periods 2 years ago. The latest blood work showed high levels of estrogen. Does that mean I'm not a candidate for your program? Absolutely not. You can still take progesterone and DHEA and use estrogen detox. I'm not really sure which test you're talking about. So maybe they're testing like they're saying you're high for menopause, but the menopause level is like 0 to 1.8. And so maybe you're 1.9, but that's still low estrogen in the grand scheme of things. So I'm not really sure. Generally, if you're in menopause and you've been in menopause for 2 years, your estrogen is going to be low. But the other thing that could be, there could be some estrogen producing tumor happening. So that might be something to look into, but we would examine that definitely when we did your hormone testing. At what age can someone start going through menopause? The possibility is as young as like 18 to 20. We see some premature menopause cases that young. However, the average is going to be like 40 for perimenopause. And then the average for menopause is 51. Menopause is meaning that you haven't had periods for a year and you're no longer ovulating for 1 year. But perimenopause in general, anytime between 35 and 40, it can start, but it can start very even earlier. I was diagnosed with ovarian failure, which is like menopause at age 20. It was a misdiagnosis, but we do see women coming in with as early as their 20s. You mentioned discounted prices for 3 years. Are you actually committed for 3 years? No, it's just if you renew, you'll get that price for 3 years. It might be longer, but we will lock it in for 3 years. But you are not, if you're signing up on a month to month, you can cancel after 3 months. And if you're on the year, you can, when you renew for the next year, you can choose whether you renew or not. You keep that. It's just, I want people to know that if they sign up on a discount, that they're not going to be paying double the next year if you're on a 50% discount. See, I have mild symptoms. Do I need hormone replacement therapy or should I just take goddess drops or Daily Glow? Does this product help with hormones? So the Daily Glow, it helps you if you are still producing hormones. So it helps with hormone synthesis because it gives you all the necessary nutrients that you need. Also helps with stress reduction, which can help with hormone balance, helps with immune support, helps with detoxification, and it gives you all like your primary vitamins, minerals, help support the thyroid, all of those things. But it's not going to make estrogen, progesterone, or testosterone. And then goddess drops is great for metabolism, brain health. So if those are like the things you're dealing with and you're not in menopause or you're not in a state of hormone deficiency, then absolutely you can just take those. But if you are in a state of hormone deficiency and you want to prevent all of the other major things from happening down the road, then I recommend hormone replacement therapy. I'm just a fan of if the tools are available and it fits your budget, then why not do all the things that you can? Now, if it doesn't fit your budget, then you do the things that you can anyways, and you just do what you can. And so if you want the best possible, definitely replace your hormones. But we make it very affordable. It's inclusive, it's affordable. And I think it's one of the best things that you can invest in is your long-term health and your immediate well-being. Yeah, I would definitely recommend it. Thoughts on Halen 951 product? I have no idea what that is. I have not heard of that. What can take this daily do? I have no idea what that product is. Thank you so much. I never pursued it now. Wish I had, but I have lots of chronic pain. Oh, I'm sorry that you have lots of chronic pain. Definitely there's things that you can do, whether it's sauna, massage, acupuncture, herbs. And there's so much you can do. Don't feel like you have to live in chronic pain. There are things that you can do. Never stop. I guess what I'm trying to say is never give up. I was told there was nothing I can do. I had chronic pain to the point where I was taking 14 ibuprofens in the morning and another 10 to 12 in the afternoon, just to get out of bed. And so I know that, and doctors told me there was nothing I can do. And so just don't believe it. Just know that there's always something you can do. There's always ways out, and you just might not know what they are yet. And I might not be able to answer your question or solve your problem here on this call, but just know that there are so many different modalities, so many different things out there that can really help. So don't give up, is what I'm saying. What is the correct time to start estrogen replacement? I've heard different things, including 1 year after you stop your period. You can start estrogen replacement as soon as you have symptoms of estrogen deficiency or as soon as your hormones start declining. I mean, the best possible situation, here's the best possible situation. So if I had a daughter, this is what I would do with her. I have a son, so he's not going to get the benefit, but I would have her test her hormones when she's in her 20s, when she's at the height of her hormone reproductive years. And then when she reaches like 30, I test her hormones again. Are they the same that they were at 20? Are they a little bit lower? So now you know hormones are starting to decline. And then I test them again at 35. And if she's starting to decline further, that's when I'd start her on some hormone replacement. It would be very low dose, but just I don't want her to ever to go dip down so that she can always stay at that optimal level, because it's much easier to prevent a problem from happening than it is to fix it once it's already happened. Once you lose the collagen in your skin, it's a lot harder to build it back up than it is to prevent the loss in the first place. Once your joints start aching and paining, it's a lot easier to prevent that from happening in the first place than it is to repair things. Your body is miraculous, and it can definitely repair itself and heal itself and all those things, but it's much easier to prevent than it is to fix after the fact. See, hi, I love your work. I'm 49. I have flooding for about 5 to 7 years. After having my third child at 40, I was stressed. So a holistic doctor, she put me on Prometrium, 1 pill a day after my period for 10 days. The flooding continued. Stress, saw a naturopath. She healed my gut, put me on P-Lift, where my body naturally produces progesterone. This is the past 3 months. I'm flooding 2 heavy periods. Ultrasound showed 2 fibroids. And I was going to say it's probably fibroids. Gyno put me on Prometrium 1 a day. Now I don't know what to do. Iron is at 29. This is not something I can help with in this format, but I would definitely recommend, so you had a 10-day period last, you might want to increase your progesterone to deal with the bleeding right now, but you probably need to do something about those fibroids, because that's going to cause the bleeding to keep continuing. And you don't want to keep losing blood, because that can really cause low iron stores and anemia. And just, it's a horrible thing to have to deal with. And I really feel for you, but definitely go back to that doctor who put you on the Prometrium, say, hey, I think I need more progesterone and we need to check into these fibroids. We need to get these out. We need to deal with it. And that's going to help you. Does having a pooch in your stomach have anything to do with hormones? You're talking about that lower belly, right? That kind of, we call it the menopause belly, or the, cortisol belly even. So yeah, so as your hormones decline, women store fat in different areas. So when we're younger, women's fat storage is in her butt and her thighs, and men store weight around their midsection. But as our hormones shift and we lose our estrogen and progesterone, we tend to store more weight around the midsection. And that's when we get that little belly pooch. It also can be due to cortisol. being too high. So yes, hormone replacement can help with that because as you get your hormones balanced, you start redistributing your fat stores differently. All right, let's see. Definitely topical over oral HRT, bioidentical versus synthetic if you're concerned about cancer risk. What is being done to increase research disparity in BHRT and synthetic HRT? There is a lot more research coming out about bioidentical hormone replacement because we have big pharma companies and big money who are making bioidentical hormone replacement therapy now. So in the past, it was more small companies that you're not really making money off of bioidentical hormones because they can't be patented. So there was not like a lot of money for research, but there's a lot of research out of Denmark and other countries. And now the UK is very hormone forward. There's a lot more research coming out there. And there's just a lot more openness about hormone replacement therapy now. So there's more and more research available. Let's see, doctor said low progesterone, not detoxing estrogen. What should I be on? Prometrium for how many days in a month? I just talk to whoever's prescribing your hormones to get you on the proper plan for you. It's a little bit different for everybody. Are your products like Globalo and BHRT, I believe, should be shipped to Canada? Yes, we actually can ship to all English-speaking countries. So Canada, the UK, Australia, New Zealand, we have members all over the world. So yes, absolutely. I have a thyroid issue. I believe I went through menopause quick because I have uninformed doctors. And not be properly treated. I do have dryness due to thyroid issues, hair loss, etc. What product can I use? I'm not sure if you're on a thyroid hormone replacement, but that might be something that you need, either like an Armor thyroid or even with thyroid hormones. Funny thing, I know we've been talking about synthetic versus bioidentical, but with thyroid hormones, even the synthetic hormones are still biologically identical. So to your thyroid. So it doesn't really matter so much which type of thyroid hormone you're on, as long as you don't have they just have different additives with them. So some people are sensitive to different like other things they put in the hormone with it. I would definitely look into that, see if you need to be on thyroid hormones. Otherwise, if you want to start like self-treating, you can do a thyroid glandular. There is a product by Allergy Research Group. That's a company that makes supplements called TG100. It's a thyroid glandular that can support your thyroid hormone without taking a medication or a prescription. So if you want to try that and see if that helps you, that's one thing you can do. And then also healing and sealing your leaky gut health and thyroid, very highly connected. So that's important too. And then also I mentioned earlier about hormones being able to help support thyroid health. That's great. And then making sure you're getting iodine. Kelp is a great thing, seaweed or kelp. Also, B vitamins are important as well for your thyroid. So those things can be helpful. So Daily Glow is great support for nutrient support for your thyroid. And then TG100 is a thyroid glandular, and that can help boost your thyroid as well. Can you use Global with estrogen if you're on HRT? Yes, you can. So your hormone replacement therapy is going to go systemic. The Global with estrogen is going to stay local to your vaginal tissues, your vaginal and urinary tract. Oftentimes, even if you're on synthetic hormones, I'd say about a high percentage, like probably like 60 to 70% of women still need the additional local vaginal estrogen in order to help with the dryness and the atrophy. So that's what Global is great, whether you're on hormone replacement or not, and you want to fix those vaginal issues, even like chronic UTIs, super, super helpful for that. All right, let's see. We are over 2 hours now, but I still have a lot of you on. So I'm going to try to answer a few more questions, and then I have to go make dinner for my family. So we will get back to this on the next call, but let's see. Should we test our genetics to ensure we're not potential triple negative breast cancer HR2 positive or possible carrier? How could genetic testing and epigenetic tests factor into hormone replacement? Okay, those are two different questions. So epigenetic testing is going to be testing you for modifiable genetic variants. Genetic mutation testing, which is going to test you for like breast cancer variants, that's going to tell you if you have a potential for developing breast cancer, not a yes, no, cut or dry. Genetic testing is great. We offer genetic testing. We have a program called DNA Made Simple, which will test the modifiable genetic variants and help you to support optimal health. Therefore, I don't, bioidentical hormone replacement does not increase your risk for cancer. So you don't need to have a genetic test in order to know whether you're a candidate for hormone replacement therapy. There are hormone genetics that we test in the modifiables, but those really pertain to women who are cycling for how they synthesize and detox their hormones. We do always provide hormone detox support with our hormone replacement therapy. That's not really a reason why you would need to have genetic testing. So yes, I love genetic testing. I created a whole genetic testing program so you can understand your genetics, but is it necessary for hormone replacement? Not really. In what ways can estrogen detox go wrong? You have a whole portion of your microbiome called the estrobolome, and there's bacteria in there that can cause your estrogen to not leave the body. So when you have your hormones, they go through your tissues, and then what's left over goes to your digestive system, and it's ready to be detoxed through your poop. And if your estrobolome is imbalanced, then you can actually, there's something called beta glucuronidase, and that can actually cause your estrogen to get packaged back up and sent back through your system. So then you can have like used or old estrogens cycling through your system. You don't want that. You want proper, once you use up your hormones, you want to take out the trash. So it's if you package up your trash and you put it in the kitchen and then you don't ever take it out, it starts like blocking up. And then it has just caused problems down the line if you don't have proper detox processes going on. What method do you use to test hormones? I think I already covered that. We use saliva and dry blood spot. We also use the Dutch test as well in our practice. And then we also do blood testing as well. So we use all the methods. In our Healthy Hormone Club specifically, because we're using topical hormones, we do our testing and retesting with saliva or dry blood spot. I have a 16-year-old daughter who has PMDD. Is HRT something that could be beneficial at this young age? More and more research is coming out showing benefits to girls with major period problems, with PMDD, that showing that hormone replacement is helping them. It's generally a lower dose. And it's not something that we really specialize in our practice because we specialize in perimenopause or menopause. But I do have a lot of colleagues that do work a lot with the younger women, younger girls, and it is becoming more and more common to do bioidentical hormone replacement for these younger girls, as opposed to putting them on just the birth control pill, which is like high dose synthetic hormones, which have a lot of risks associated with them. If you have a teenager or a young girl in the house on birth control pills, just pull out that package and read the package insert. It is alarming, all of the side effects that are associated with birth control. So yes, but yeah, that it is something that can be helped. Can you talk about saliva and blood testing, appropriateness and accuracy? And I have articles on that, and I'm not going to get, it's such a big topic, so I can do a whole YouTube video on that for you. Let's see. I'm going to try to answer a couple questions that I can answer quickly. Are there any regular hormone replacement or bioidentical hormones that are technically vegan or do not come from an animal? Absolutely. Most bioidentical hormones are actually plant-based and vegan. We like our hormones in Healthy Hormone Club, those are vegan. There's no animal products in them at all. They're not tested on animals. They're all of that. Yes. And I would say most bioidentical hormones are going to be vegan, at least vegetarian. I can't speak to other brands of what they put in the hormones along with the hormone itself, but ours are absolutely vegan, 100% plant-based. Yes, totally cool. In Canada, can I get a blood test for hormone levels? Yeah, you can do through us. We can't order blood tests from a lab in Canada, but we can send you saliva tests or dry blood spot testing for hormones. Can you tell how the ingredients in your products are different than others? As for the hormones, you mean our hormones are 100% plant-based. They are USP verified hormones. So they are verified that by the United States Pharmacopoeia. They're made in FDA registered labs, cruelty-free, not tested on animals, GMP certified. They don't have any weird additives in them or anything like that. So yeah, hopefully that's helpful. Can traumatic brain injury impact hormones, particularly in perimenopause and menopause? What is needed to restore the brain's feedback to have sufficient hormone production? So you're talking about if you're still cycling, can a brain injury impact your hormone or your ovarian production? Well, that's something that I would have you talk to your practitioner about, because everyone's going to be different when it comes to what part of the brain was injured and whether that's actually happening or not. So no need to go down a rabbit hole if that's not being affected. Let's see. Do I have uterine fibroids? If I have uterine fibroids, can BHRT make that worse? I think if you have imbalanced BHRT, so if you are not getting a balanced amount of hormones, it can make it worse. If you're improving your hormone balance, it can make it better. Oh, thank you, Lisa. Lisa said I don't look 50. I appreciate that. But 50 is a great thing. What's really funny is when I was like 30, I thought 50 was so old. And now I think 50 is so young because I'm 50. Like when you look at like the Golden Girls, that TV show, if anyone remembers that show, they were like 55, 60, and 64. And no one, we just had our happy hour for our Healthy Hormone Club last night. And it's not like this format, it's where I can see everyone's faces. And almost everyone that got on, they're like, I'm 64, I'm 59. And no one looked like a golden girl. They all looked great. And it's pretty amazing. All right. It's 6:20. I've got to go. I'm being like paged by my family. So I'm going to end it here. I do see a lot of duplicate questions, so I know that we answered quite a bit. Happy St. Patrick's Day. Thank you so much for being here. If you are interested in the Healthy Hormone Club, you go on our sales page on our website. There is a spot where if you have more questions, you can book a call with one of our member success managers. So that means someone who is very knowledgeable about the Healthy Hormone Club, who can help you make that decision of whether it's right for you. So I know sometimes you want to speak to somebody. And so we have that available. It's on sale for the rest of the month. So if you're interested in working with us to get your hormones balanced, we'd love to have you. But if you're using this information and you want to go work with your local doctor or somewhere else, I still cheer you on, and I love you all. And whether or not you are working with us or working with somebody else, I just want us all to be strong, vibrant women and support each other. And I'm here to answer your questions. I do these Q&As at least once a month. I am trying to do them more. Thank you all for being here and celebrating St. Patrick's Day with me. Take care. If you need anything, you forgot anything I said, support at glownaturalwellness.com. You can go to fixhormones.com. We have lots of great resources. You can take a quiz. You can learn more about the Healthy Hormone Club if you click on the join. I'm here to support you no matter what. So let me know how I can help you. I'm downloading the Q&A in the chat, so I will get more questions answered as well. Love you guys. Have a great night. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.